So when and where were you born?
Copper Hill, Virginia.
Copper Hill?
Floyd County.
And so I used to hear my mom talking about the old dirty house. Was that the house you were born in?
Yes.
Okay. And where do you know where that is? Is it still standing?
Oh,
or?
yeah, I'd love to go over there. It's still standing, as far as I know.
Where's it at? What road is it?
Well, you go off to 21, like you're going down toward Deer Run Road. Of course, that wasn't even named back then. But before you get to Copper Hill Church, if you run that way, you turn right, and it's back down through there.
Oh, okay.
And lived there until I was 9 years old. And then we moved over to what was a big house up there when the field burned, with Debbie almost in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I haven't led that most interesting life. Meanest maybe, but not the most interesting.
What do you have to say about that, Charlotte?
What? I didn't say nothing. I just laughed. We all done our part. I don't deny anything.
I'm not gonna.
How did our family come to live here?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I guess they just thought it was a good place. And I think probably part of my family came from Ireland and part of it comes from Holland. So it's got a long, long way back. But I really don't know because Mom lived over next to the skyline over like towards Payne's Creek down in there first. And I'm not sure, Daddy might have lived over there.
I was telling Barbie that's where we were this morning.
Yeah. I'm not really sure where Daddy was born, but I do know that they were in West Virginia for a while. Because Mom used to talk about riding a train, her and her mom, and coming to Virginia to see my Aunt Hattie and them. So, I really don't know whether Daddy lived in West Virginia. I don't know if Mom lived in West Virginia, really. But,
Now, they were sharecroppers, right?
well, Daddy was a farmer all his life, yes. And he worked for 10 cents an hour.
What was the house like? How many rooms? Did you have electricity?
No,
No way.
we
Huh?
had oil lamps.
Yeah.
And we heated with wood. And the roof, when it snowed, you had to shake the snow off of your quilt before you got up in the morning. And for the hole coming to the wall, we papered it up with a piece of cardboard box or whatever.
We slept on a
Feather bed.
Yeah, well, feather bed. Well, some of it was straw. Some of it was straw tick.
Yeah, we did have straw ticks in there, and then we finally got to where we had feather beds over top of them.
Showed
Then
no
we
chickens.
took those and made pillows.
Yeah. So you had quite a few brothers and sisters all growing up at the same time in that house.
Sleep on a feather tick.
Well, your mother, Alceda, was 7 years older than me. Junior was 11 years older than me. And then there was Ruby,
You're a rich boy then. You were a rich boy.
and Marvin, and Marie, and Clarence. Clarence was the oldest. So he had 3 children.
Uncle Junior?
No, Junior never had children.
I never.
Clarence.
Yeah.
Clarence did. And Big Marvin had 2 children by his first wife and 2 by his second wife.
What in the house do you remember the most? Whether it's an antique or a favorite place to be, or
Yeah, and we raised sheep, and sometimes we would bring them in the house and feed them. And if we had little chickens that didn't look good, we'd bring them in the house, and Mama would wrap them in a towel and lay them in the oven where it was warm. But one time she forgot to take it out.
I bet they wasn't fit to eat, was it?
We didn't eat it. It was a little bitty.
Little
She liked to worry herself to death about it. We had a big thunderstorm one day, and there was a great old big oak tree there in the front yard. And it struck the tree and knocked the red door down, and I don't know what all. We were all kind of scared. Well, I don't think it was anyone there but me and Mama that day, and it scared us to death. So I don't know. I liked the old dirty house. It was home.
Mm-hmm. What were your chores? What were your responsibilities?
Oh, I'd have to feed the chickens and all them good things and carry water from, we didn't have water in the house.
Mhm.
We carried water from spring house. And I don't know, just whatever Mama said do, you better do it.
That's right. I was up there with
What's your earliest childhood memory? How far back can you recall?
that. That on that round saw that.
Mm,
Pop out.
I don't know, I remember Junior and I, when it come a big snow, we make igloos, because it really snowed back then. We cut the blocks out and made igloos out in the backyard. It was fun. And I don't know, we had all kind of animals, and Daddy with his pigs, and he would stand there and talk to them. I guess it made them grow when he fed them.
Hmm.
You talk to the kitties.
I don't know, I don't know, it was just home, and we had it's a big place up on the top of the hill. We'd take rocks and make certain rooms
Mm-hmm.
and make playhouses. It was fun.
I want to know is how can we remember things back then? I
Uh,
can't remember what happened 10 minutes ago, but I want to know.
Yeah, me too.
The short-term
But it
memory
was- it was good.
ain't-
It was home.
isn't very
and
long,
Daddy
is it?
did drink.
Oh,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and lots of times I can remember taking the lantern, me and Mama going to look for him, finding him asleep on the haystack.
Hmm.
And
Granddaddy?
right in there hangs the lantern.
That's where the booze was.
Yeah, but he would go get it, and he would get so drunk he couldn't get back home, so he slept.
We lay down, slept it off.
Yeah, but it wasn't that bad, because he would drink 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then sometimes he'd go 6 months or more without taking a drop. But if he ever went to the market to take cabbage or take a calf off or, sell or whatever, he always come back with his bottle. And that was for another 3 weeks, then he would straighten up again.
Hmm.
But I can't remember him ever whipping me, but my mama said he did. And the last time he ever whipped me, it was all these whole comfort papers that come in,
Mhm.
like grit used to be and stuff. I don't know if you remember even those or not. Well, it's just a little old silly paper. And Mama was washing, and somehow or other somebody got water on his paper before he read it, and I really got a spanking, she said. But I don't think it was her wash water. So, and she said that's the last time that Daddy ever
You
whipped
did.
me.
Who had the most vibrant personality of your brothers and sisters? What do you remember most about?
I don't
Them.
know, I was always scared of Clarence.
Yeah.
He was just, he wasn't rough or anything, but just the way he talked, and he was stern as he could be.
Like Pot Hill.
Yeah. But, Marvin, second
Papa
son,
wasn't bad, he was a good man.
who,
I told her Papa Hill wasn't a bad man,
he just me.
he's just a man.
Marvin was really easy to get along with, and Junior, I guess he would give you the shirt off his back and never. Him and Marvin both babied me to death, so.
Hmm.
But I was scared of Clarence until Mom and them had built a house and moved in there where Mike lives now, and then I don't know, it was as if he mellowed up or whether I just got used to the fact that that's the way he was.
Mhm.
But I think Elzada was probably the most, I don't know, outgoing woman, or she was just as sweet as she could be to everybody. Not just one, but when I got married, she come in at Christmas and she said, okay, here's it was this blue sweater, button up. She said, this is the last thing I'm buying you. You're married now, do it on your own. And I never will forget it. Standing in front of the wood cook stove in the kitchen. But I think she always brought me something else in the day. Always.
What do you remember from school? Your school days, elementary or middle school?
We had to walk I had to walk to school. Of course, all the other kids were out then. And it wasn't so far, I don't guess. It was farther than from here up to that first store out there, down through the field.
Mhm.
A lot of times I take my lunch in a little half-gallon syrup bucket. I have cornbread milk. And a lot of times I take a buckwheat cake with apple butter on it. And that was good too. It almost choked you to death, but it was still good.
What was the name of your school?
Mount Pleasant.
Same thing all the other kids had to eat, right? They all brought their lunch and each person had something different?
Yeah, and once in a while we'd all bring something like potatoes or beans or something like that
Mhm.
and make a great old big pot of beef stew or whatever, and all of us would eat together.
You
We
ever
had a big wood
You
stove.
ever exchange food with your friends?
Well, sure. If they had something I wanted, I'd talk them out of it. But
That's childlike.
Mhm.
Mom had washed the skillets one time with lye water to clean them because it cut the grease out. And she fixed me egg sandwiches for lunch. And before lunch, that woman come running down through that field just flying. She said, "Don't you dare eat that." She said, "I brought you something else." She said, "It would probably kill you." Because she had that worsted out in the lie and hadn't
On red
Got
devil
to-
line in little canisters about
hadn't
so
really got
tall.
them clean yet.
From what I recall, lye could make you blind.
Huh?
Lye could blind you.
I don't doubt that a bit.
Mhm.
It probably could. It was really strong. But we made soap and stuff out of it.
Mhm.
But the school was a one-room school. It had 7 grades in one school. So I don't remember how many people were in it. I remember a lot of the kids that did go, but I don't remember, how many there were.
Were you a good student?
Sure. I failed one year and had to take it over, but that was okay.
Other than that, it was good.
Hmm?
What was your?
I didn't mind school at all. Except first we moved to over on the other side of Copper Hill when I was 9 years old. And I had long curls. And several of the boys would pull my hair and say they were cow boobies. And that would make me mad. But outside of that, I did pretty good in school.
What was your favorite subject?
Boys.
Now, that I didn't have to study then. I don't know. I like geography and history. I did not like math. And print,
English?
no.
Oh.
The math was a problem for me.
Yeah.
But I did like geography and history. It was,
Oh.
yeah.
Who did you admire when you were growing up? Either somebody famous or somebody in the family. I mean, who did you look up to?
You gotta remember, that's before you knew me.
I'm gonna smack your tail.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
See ya.
Well, I guess, I don't know, I guess I admire Alzada. I wanted to be exactly like her.
Really,
I
yeah?
wanted to wear clothes like she did. She had a beautiful fuchsia sweater. I had black pants. And I always wanted to dress like her and look like her. I know a couple others that did too. Ditto.
Mhm.
Yeah, she would always, Mama would get so upset, she'd stand there and comb her hair,
Mhm.
fix it, it would be just beautiful if she was going out.
I'd get her to paint mine.
And then she would comb it out again, and Mama just had a fit. And she messed it up.
Wasn't just right, huh?
What? No, it wasn't right for Alzada, but it was. Mom thought it was beautiful,
Mhm.
and I did too. But she had to do it again. So, but she was always bringing me, little things that I didn't have and couldn't ever afford. And then when she got married, and moved to Ohio, she'd always bring a German chocolate cake, or
Cheesecake.
cheesecake, and she would bring a different kind of coffee that we didn't even have down here. and Land O'Lakes butter at the time.
Maple.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it was oatmeal, like with tastes like maple. It was real good.
You remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can still get maple.
You can still get it.
What religion were you growing up, and what church did you attend?
Copper Hill Church of the Brethren.
Mhm.
It
Always.
was Always.
Yeah.
Still.
So coming from Ireland, we had two choices, right? You were either Protestant or Catholic. And my assumption is that we'd always been Protestants, but there's one branch of our Irish history, the Nowlans, Patrick Nowlan. There's some research out there back to 1550. I read that he was Protestant. He converted to Catholicism in Catholic in the 1600s, right when the wars started between the Catholics and the Protestant. He lost all of his wealth. He had to give it all up as he converted, and because it was taken in one of the wars. And so I didn't know, what our history was, but we're all mostly Protestant, so, assume that was our history.
How far back?
Well, I just grew up in a Brethren church, and I
Mhm.
always, I was Irish, period. That's
Mhm.
what I always thought of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Your grandma?
Have you ever been mentioned in the newspaper? Any stories written about you or pictures taken? You and
Yeah, I got a picture of me and my I got a 5 family picture in there. Me and Charlotte. and
Oh,
Karen.
great.
You and
It was in, I put it in paper,
Mm-hmm.
Rocky
You
Mountain
you
paper.
can look it up on.
Yeah, I've had my picture in paper.
That's great. Who were your friends growing up? Who were your best friends, and what'd you like about them?
I don't know. I felt like I was a lower class, so that's the way I always picked my friends. And I just thought was about like me, the ones that had a lot more than we did and everything. So I always picked a lower class to be friends with.
You still friends with some of those folks today?
Golly, Mark, I guess most of them are all gone.
Yeah.
Even after I went to check when I was 9 years old and started, so many of my friends have already passed on. Refused to live in.
Did you have a horse and buggy growing up in the dirty house? When was the first car? What do you remember about all that?
My daddy never had a car. He never drove.
Mhm.
Mom never drove.
Just oxen.
Huh?
They had the horse or oxen.
Yeah,
You take a wagon.
the woman that Daddy worked for, she had 2 horses, and we used them for, the kind of work we did. And
Mm-hmm.
me and Junior were taking him home one afternoon, and this one old horse was so draggy, you'd think he was 2/3 dead. And we was going up through what we call the flatwoods. We went up through there, and Junior took his bridle, and he was holding in the other hand on Bob, and hit Jack on the rump and got him out of that horse, ran away with me. Junior, like to have died, he thought sure it was gonna kill me. And I was awful sore, and I was hurt mighty bad that was a bony old horse.
Oh, you poor thing.
So, but anyway, we made it, and,
Where's she talking about?
but he was worried him to death. He was so afraid something was gonna happen to me.
Down that road. I'll show you
Because he always-
Back down that road,
what's going on?
the dirty house that she's talking about.
What stories have come down to you from your parents and grandparents? Did you know your grandparents? How
I
far?
never saw them, they were all, I got barely remember, I think, my little Grandma Hill.
Mhm.
But I'm not positive of that, because it's been so long. But the others, they were born before I was born,
Mm-hmm.
so I never knew them.
There's one question here about any stories about people that were famous or infamous, but we already know a few, right? Robert Hill himself, early founder of this area.
Yeah, and that's what makes me so darn mad. The Hills own all of this Rocky Mountain
Mhm.
to start with.
What's what?
They didn't leave us a cotton picking penny.
No, we're all working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a Peggy Hill or something's announced her on the radio now.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go see her one day.
Is she relative?
I don't know.
Oh, don't know?
I just heard her on the radio.
The research that I did showed that Robert Hill owned a foundry, a metalworks in Ireland, and when he came here, he started one, and it went bankrupt. So that's where I think he lost a lot of his. He probably put up the property as collateral for the loan to build the place, and he may have lost it, and so
Yeah.
all that was left was the farm that they lived on, and then that got divided up, and who knows what happened there.
Oh,
We'd have to find all the wills.
I didn't
you
know
know.
that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Somebody else wrote it.
Yeah.
As part of the family history.
Well, I wouldn't, I wouldn't remember no anyway.
Yeah.
No way.
What's the heirloom that you got from Granny, your dad, anybody in the family that you still have that you are just the most happy with, proud of, happy to have?
I don't know, I was the happiest to have my mother. She was the greatest person there was.
Mm.
So, I still got all the memories.
Those are priceless.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Dad was always good to me, and he always bought me, like Charlotte said, that little bag of chocolate drops when he went out somewhere. But he could be gruff, but he was never really mean to me. But that voice sometimes would be worse than a whipping.
He was pretty strict. Stern. Was he strict?
Yes.
Yeah.
He never put me.
I don't guess he did. Squawker rotten.
So we asked you how Granny and your dad picked your name. How did you pick your kids' names?
Well, Charlotte and Becky, I picked them up for one of the soap operas. And
It's a good deal.
And Becky, no, Kathy, I got her name from one of the girls I worked with at Reynolds Mills.
Mm-hmm.
I said I worked there too.
Mm-hmm.
And William Michael was named after your daddy and Daddy Mike. And Kathy and Debbie, I don't really know. It probably I heard it on the radio with the
Mhm.
stories or something. I really don't know.
What, what was your proudest moment or moments about things that you saw that your kids had
It
done?
caused blurred vision.
That's what I need.
I know. I'll tell you that the day that Michael was born, of course, I was induced with labor for 4,
It makes you dizzy.
all except her.
Mhm.
They let me lay for 2 days and
Mm.
wasn't funny. But Michael was born at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had been in here all day, and we brought him in naturally, the light hurt his eyes so bad, and he kept his eyes closed, and I couldn't see him.
It says to take it
And
on
instead of
schedule,
having
like
sense
that,
enough
and
to ask the
go
nurse to let me
by
see him
every
again,
day.
I
You
laid
know,
there
we
and
can
cried
take it
all
on
night,
schedule. How do you know
because I
30
thought he
minutes
was gonna be blind. But he's not.
Big blue eyes.
Honorary, but
I took it to work this morning, I need a piece of toast in it.
best boy I got.
Didn't like me.
Of all the things you learned from your parents, what do you think was the most important lesson?
To try to do the best that I could, and to never do harm to anyone if I could help it. And if I saw somebody that needed something and I had it, could help them, that's what they got.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just the people person. That's it.
It's a boogeyman.
What's the most important thing you want, your ancestors or your the people to come after you to remember about you?
Really gonna say.
Hard question.
Just say she was halfway decent.
She was halfway decent. She's a pretty darn good aunt.
No, I've done an awful lot of things I'm not proud of,
Mhm.
but I've done quite a few that I am. And I do try to help people that need it any time that I can. And I have tried my best to repent and to change the bad things that I did do. Of course, I know yesterday's behind us
Mhm.
and tomorrow's in front. And if you're standing with one foot on each one of them, you know what you're doing to today, don't you? So I just try to do the best I can one day at a time. And that's it. And you can fill in that little word if you want to.
Okay.
Lordy, Lordy. Are we through yet?
Yeah. You know.
Did
We-
you film?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I got your voice on here. So.
Because Mama would work 1 week, and Marie'd keep the kids, and Marie'd work 1 week, and Mama keep all the kids. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, you'd not ever got the kids raised if it hadn't been for me helping you.
Well,
And you helped with Mark too, huh? You did,
Yeah.
you were helping
She went
everyone.
out.
Oh, that's what the families did back then, was help.
And I helped bite everybody's shoulder
Amen to
and pinched
that.
everybody where I shouldn't be pinching them.
oh,
When they helped
my.
out.
Pincher and a biter.
So I'm told. Don't remember.
You don't remember doing that.
Well,
You
Lauren-
don't remember that? You wouldn't do something like that.
And Lauren picked up on it, didn't she?
A little bit, yeah.
In school, didn't she bite someone, you know?
I believe she did. She thought she ran the show. She used to tell all the kids what they had to do. Some of them listened, and some of them didn't. A little conflict.